Hey guys and girls, my name's Dan, welcome back to The Forge. In today's episode of Trust Me, I'm a Blacksmith, we are making these really cute little box jaw tongs. They're quite small ones, but they have a very specific job. They allow me to hold stock whilst I'm using this newly forged set block, which you're going to see me making very shortly, so that I can make tong planks. These are the stock blocks, and you just saw me putting the handle together and testing these before I'd rounded off the corners. So now I've rounded the corners off, these work a lot better. They leave less dings and stuff in the actual the tongs. But the purpose of these is set down the nib, put down the hinge plate, and then draw out the reins. Now, one of the problems I was having was holding this stock in the tongs that I had available. So I'm going to go on and make some box jaws just like this. I have never made them in this style before, so they came out quite nice, so that they can actually hold these nibs, so I can then forge this back end under here without any problems. Okay, so I've got 2 lots of hammer courses available. If you want to find out more information about these courses, they're UK based courses, go to the end of the video or watch the whole video, and then at the end I'll tell you some more information. Okay, nice and hot. Get rid of some of this bubbly stuff on here. And I've just got a slightly larger hammer than I normally would have. I'm going to come to this first centre dot here, which is 20mm or 3/4. And I'm basically aiming with a slightly larger hammer just over the corner, just there. So I put this notch in. So what I'm going to now do is turn it over 180 degrees where the other centre dot mark is. And I'm going to do the same on this side, basically developing a shape like so. And go back over to the other side of the anvil. Just keep forge this down to about half the thickness of your starting stock. Okay, another nice heat. I'm just going to get rid of some of this scuds off of it. Again, nice heats here. You get more work done the hotter it is. I swap back to my smaller hammer, and as you can see, I can get more blows in per cycle with the smaller hammer. And the reason for the bigger hammer to start with, so everything was a bit more precise, but got a nice amount of work done. We need to get these set down in nicely. So this wants to be half the thickness of the starting stock. So we started with 20mm or 3/4. We want to take it down to about 3/8. 10mm, somewhere around there, So I'm going to put the set down in, which will make the nib normally. I'm going to turn it away from myself. I'm going to come across to the other side of the anvil again, hold that up at an angle. and just setting that down in there to create a hinge plate. So this is where our set down has gone in for a hinge plate. Come across to the closer side to you, the anvil. Again, over the edge of the anvil, I'm holding that down at a bit of an angle. It acts a bit like a fuller. I'm going to create ourselves a bit of a raise. I'm just going to forge that raise down. And this is where our hinge will be developed later on when we come to do it, and also the back of the reins. Now, I'm going to draw these out using the power hammer, because I'm a bit pressed for time today. If you'd like to see me making tongs like this, I've got plenty of other videos. I'll leave a card up somewhere for you to see. So we're getting quite far with this. I've drawn these out to 25 by 12, which is 1 inch by ½ inch, and ish roughly. So the next job to do is create the hinge plates and then draw the material out. Now this is where I've been having trouble, because I've been cutting these in half as I've been going along, and then I haven't been able to hold this end of the material. So I'm going to leave this all together to start with, and I'm going to start doing the hinges. I'm going to draw a piece of the material out, and then I'm going to chop them in half. I'm going to find the halfway points on these now, roughly, and then we're going to go from there. So I'm going to mark these up and then we'll get going. Okay, I've located the halfway point, and I've also marked up the hinge plates. What I've done is 1 inch in for the hinge plates, 25mm. As before, slightly larger hammer. I'm going to find that centre dot mark. I'm just going to rest it on the far side corner of the anvil, and then put myself in a set down. And again, I'm striking half on, half off the anvil. And we want to come in about a third of the material thickness. Just like so. I'm going to do the rest of this using the power hammer, just because I'm struggling with time a bit today. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're just going to round up the reins like so. We're then going to set the hinge plates. And this is the difference between this hinge and this hinge here. And then we're going to modify the nibs. Now, I'm not going to go over any of this really in heavy detail, except from this part here where we made this flat piece here. I've never done it like this before, so I wanted to see how well it came out. It came out quite nicely. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take the back side of the hinge plate and I'm going to face it down as low as I can get it on my anvil, and I'm going to hit on top of the hinge. I'm going to forge the hinge plate, or boss, or whatever you want to call it, into a lodging shape. Now why bother going to all the trouble of doing this? I hear you ask. Well, a lot of people complain, well, I've seen quite a few videos where people have complained about the tongs not lining up properly when they put them together. Now if I take these tongs now, they are sitting together much better than they would do if I'd have just left them flat. This kicks the rein and the nib out of line with each other, well, even more so than they already were, allowing you to make them fit together nicely. Now, you might need to do a little bit of filing. You might just need to get a little bit of the filing out from in here, which I like to do anyway. It makes them look tidy. But you hear a lot of people saying, oh, they don't line up, I've done the 45s and all that stuff. But if you do this properly, you'll have successful tongs every time. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, just in front of where we put our very first set down, I'm just going to come in ever so slightly. I don't want to come in too deep. I'm just going to come in about that far and bring that down to about 15 mil. Okay, all I'm going to do this now is I'm just going to work back from that set down. Just to forge in a nice tapered end, like so. Making sure I keep this lump off the anvil, that way if I accidentally hit it, I'm less likely to forge too much of it. So now we've got our nice lump on the end there. What I'm going to do is going to get that very end hot, use a cross peen and start drawing that out. Okay, cross peen hammer here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start in the centre, using that cross peen to start forging down and spreading this material. A nice heat for this next bit, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in on this top corner and I forge down, and as you notice it forges the opposite corner into the bottom of the anvil there, so keep doing that. It does seem a bit counterintuitive to do this initially, but it works really well. And then bring that back out again. I want to get this side a bit more. As you can see, I'm trying to stretch this out quite nicely now. And it's important to remember not to go too thin with this. Obviously, if you want these to be bigger, you might need to start with larger stock, isolate that stock off, and then work from there. But as long as you keep working both sides and aim to move that material around nicely, you can get quite a bit of stock out of these quite quickly. Okay, so I've gone ahead and just finished this setup. I'm going to go over bending this up now, but what I wanted to point out was I didn't, for the first one, I didn't mark where the centre was. For this one I have, so this is going to be 25, it's going to, well, 25 by 25 I guess it'll hold up to, but this one is for 20, this is to hold the nibs. Now, it's come out pretty good, I'm quite happy with it, it looks really tidy and nice, but it was over on one side, so basically I put two centre dot marks there, so when they're in the vise I can check those line up nicely. I'm also going to do this before I rivet them together because I did it the other way around and I thought it was going to work, but it didn't. Okay, so I'm going to take this bit of 25 here again. I'm going to get Elliot to close the tongs around it, turn it over to the right. Back onto itself the other way. And then basically what I'm trying to avoid happening. Oh, wowzers. Is that these edges are sort of not holding quite as tight as I would like on the side. That's what I'm trying to avoid. So just a little bit on each side every time. Like that. It's nice. Cool. How does that feel? Yeah, good. Nice. Back on the fire. Okay, I just like to taper the ends of the reins ever so slightly because they just feel a bit better in the hands sometimes. And also I like to give them a bit of a flick out as well so that you sort of have an indication of where the end of the tongs reins are, basically. Thank you so much for joining me. I've really enjoyed making these tongs. They turned out great, and I've not really done this process before, and to be honest with you, it is a really great process. If I wanted these nibs to be wider, I'd have to go about it a slightly different way. Potentially start with slightly thicker stock, so instead of having 20 by 20, have maybe 40 by 20, and then do a real deep set down on that first set down and forge the back out so it was like 20 square. But again, it worked quite well. The drawing out process was nice and I've enjoyed it. If you want any more details on making the tongs, I know that I didn't cover everything in super great detail. Head over to some of the other videos I have. Hopefully the cards have gone up to sort of give you more information. The channel itself has loads of information about building tongs. So go and check that out if you're interested. The stop blocks worked really well, and these lovely little blanks worked really nicely as well. Now, so these blanks that I've made will be up on the Etsy, and if you fancy getting yourself a pair of these box jaw tongs, these will also be up on the Etsy as well. So definitely go and check that out. There's a link to the description for the Etsy down below. I'm hoping that as we go through, we're going to start getting some student work up there for you guys to get your hands on, which would really help the students out. There's also t-shirts, baseball caps, hammers, all sorts of stuff. We're selling stock like it's going out of fashion. Thank you so much everyone who is buying from there. Okay, so I'd just quickly like to talk about the hammer classes I mentioned at the start of the video. If you're in the UK and you're interested in coming to this workshop here and spending the day with me and a couple of other people making some hammers, hopefully I can get 4 people per course. On the 2nd and last weekend of August, Saturday that is, I will be available to make hammers with you guys and girls at home if you want to come here and do that. I would also be able to extend a day to the Friday for 2 people and also a Saturday for 2 people as well if they want to do some other stuff, maybe do some more tong making stuff, make some hammer related tools or whatever. So if you want to do a couple of extra days either side, that's also possible, but the main day is a Saturday for people to do the actual hammer making classes. The price for the course is £90 for the actual hammer making course, and then I will come to an arrangement with people depending on if they want to do 1 more day or 2 more days as to how much those extra days will be. This is a limited time thing only. I'm probably not going to do it again, but the course is kind of like a tester. I want to practice what I'm going to teach. Not that I haven't taught classes before, I have taught classes before, but I just want to go over in details because I've got a lot of people out in the States. I'm going a long way. I don't want it to be a blowout. I really want to do a good job. So if you would like to come up and be a guinea pig for the day, send me an email. The link's in the description below. I'll put hammer classes and then I'll put my email. Send me an email. Either myself or Ella will get back to you and give you some more information on the actual dates and times and everything. But it's a long, hard 8-hour day. I can do the course pretty much with 2 people, but if I can get 4, I've got enough room here, we've got enough anvils, we've got enough tools, so we can do that. So if you're interested, send me an email. That's everything I'd like to talk about in this episode of Trust Me, I'm a Blacksmith. Thank you once again for joining me. Hopefully you're enjoying the content. I am trying so hard to put videos out, and I'm being a bit picky about what's going out, which is a little bit annoying. I shouldn't be so picky, and I should just get stuff out there for you guys and girls to enjoy. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Trust Me, I'm a Blacksmith. I hope you liked it. If you did, remember to leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you made it this far and you haven't been a subscriber already, probably should subscribe. Also, ring that bell for notifications because it'll let you know every time I make a video. Comments down in the comments down below. Let me know what you thought of the tongs. Let me know what you thought of the tooling. Let me know what you thought of the blanks. Let me know any of your ideas. I'm always open to hear stuff, so chuck that down in the comments as well. Link to the Instagram in the description. I post quite regularly on the Instagram, especially if I feel like I'm not getting enough YouTube out. So you can go and find more information about the channel, what's going on the Instagram, link in the description. Then also, like I said before, the Etsy, there's tools, all sorts of great stuff, t-shirts and hats on the Etsy if you'd like to get yourself some of that, and that also supports the channel quite nicely. Thank you for joining me. That's everything. I'll leave a link up here to me making some tongs. I'll leave a link down here to some more tong videos. There'll probably be a tong video here as well, and this here is the subscribe button. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll see you guys and girls later.